This episode of the HoneyDew is brought to you by Liquid IV, RAYCON, and Stitch Fix. More on that later. Let's get into the do.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I'm Ryan Sickler. Ryan Sickler on all social media, ryansickler.com. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. We got audio on Mondays, video on Tuesdays. Don't just watch. Hit that subscribe. And if you got to have more episodes, man, hit the Patreon up, the HoneyDew with you all. If you or anyone out there you know has that story that has to be heard, submit it at honeydewpodcast@gmail.com. We'll vet them. We'll get to them. The community is growing. We've heard, I don't know if y'all are out there watching, but we just had a story about a guy getting someone else's face blown off onto his face. This shit is you all have not let me down. It's getting crazier and crazier. I absolutely love it. Get your night pants, get your merch, all that good stuff. You know I record here at the Santa Monica Music Center every week. If you need musical instruments or lessons for your kids, this is the spot. You can get online classes. Go to santamonicamusic.com. Use the code HoneyDew. They'll waive the registration fee, and they'll give you one free lesson when you sign up for a package. All right? That's the biz. That's all right. And I appreciate you trying. I saw you trying to hold it back.
That's that COVID. It's the COVID lungs, dog.
Well, what we do here is we highlight the lowlights. As I always say, these are the stories behind the storytellers. And I do want to say this. Thank you for all the messages, all the DMs, everything you guys send about how this is changing your lives, how you've started going to therapy, all that stuff. But this guest here today, first time here on the HoneyDew. Very excited to have him here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brendan Schaub, y'all. Brendan Schaub on the HoneyDew.
Bam, 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 bam.
Thank you for being here. I just squealed like I was 17, bro. I got excited.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. You look good in pink, by the way.
Oh, thanks, dude.
I think about wearing it all. I
Yeah,
got
you
a
gotta
tie
be-
that's pink. I
Yeah,
like it.
you got to be comfortable in your own skin to rock pink, man.
Before we get into what we're going to talk about today, please plug everything.
When's this drop?
In just like 2 weeks.
About 7 weeks. So.
Listen,
Do you know where you're at in
April.
7 weeks?
It's gonna be
I don't know
April.
where I'm going to be next week.
what do you got going on?
Yeah, I literally don't know. Just firing the kids, King of the Sting, and then Below the Belt podcast. And I'm on the road. I'm all over.
You're doing your Showtime show too.
Showtime Food Truck Diaries.
I love that show.
Yeah.
I saw Jesus on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one, yeah.
Things are good, man. Busy, which is good.
Yeah, it is good.
There's also nothing worse when you ask someone, "Hey, how's it going?" Busy. How are you? Oh, are you busy? Is there a worse answer? Busy.
Busy.
Oh,
man.
okay. You just want to make sure everybody knows you're working. So,
I've
life
always
is good.
been I'm good. Even when shit is horrible.
Oh.
Even when it's horrible, I'm good. Also, when it's good, I'm good.
If things are real bad, you're hanging in there, man.
You switch those year too.
Hanging in there, man.
If shit's good, it's good.
It's either
if not, you're
busy
just hanging in.
or I'm hanging in there, man. And 2020 was hanging in there, man.
Yeah.
How you doing with everything? Hanging in there.
All right, so there's a few things I want to talk to you about. We talked a little bit about football, MMA, but first let's talk about where you're from. You grew up in Denver.
Born and raised.
And was your dad an athlete? Was your mom an athlete? Like, what got you into, where do you get your genes from?
Yeah. Probably my dad's side. Like, my dad's like 6'3", 220, like in better shape than I am, like shredded dude.
For real? Right now?
Yeah, right now.
How old
beast.
is he?
65.
Damn.
Beast.
He stays in shape, huh?
Stays in shape,
All
works
right.
out every day.
Was he an athlete back in the day?
Yeah, he played football, and then he was in the Navy. I come from a military family. My thing, it's kind of a weird story because where I grew up, really, I'm from Aurora, Colorado. And Aurora, Colorado now is a little different, but when I grew up, it was definitely like a more urban area. Like all my friends were black. I grew up around black people. My best friends were black. So the best way to kind of fit in and like make a name for yourself or get girls was to be good at sports. So I was gifted with athletic genes, but I never had like that athletic mentality. I don't have that Kobe mentality, that Manny Pacquiao mentality. It was just like, all right, well, I guess I'm gifted in this. I'll do this. But, my heroes were like Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, but there was no avenue for that. And for where I got in life in sports, I was really good at sports. So I was like, all right, well, I guess you're good at this. This is what you do, man.
And when did you realize?
very young.
High school?
Oh, way
before that.
Way before that.
That you could be, that you
Way
were better
before
than
that.
everybody. Like,
Way
what's
before.
what's your earliest memory of just dusting everybody? Was it football? Was it?
Probably, we at Virginia Court Elementary, and I was in 3rd grade. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to make money doing this. You know, it's like, oh, I'm way better than everybody. Yeah, but it wasn't
like Pop Warner.
It was,
and stuff
it
you're
wasn't
playing?
a cocky thing. I remember my coach, again, because I never, like, it wasn't a passion. I was just good at it. And I was getting like a lot of positive like comments all the time. So that's good. And that would release those endorphins. And I knew I could, make a name for myself in sports. But yeah, I was in 3rd grade and I didn't want to play anymore. But my dad bought all the equipment. And it was like halfway through the season, I was like, I don't want to play, Dad. I want to go hang out with my friends and like do this stuff. And he's like, all right, well, if you quit, you're just not going to quit. You got to go talk to the team and tell them. So he marched me up there, got me in front of
How old? 3rd grade?
3rd grade, marched me in front of everyone. And the coach was Russ Brown. Shout out to Russ Brown. Still talk to him to this day.
Do you really?
Yeah, yeah.
What's up,
he
Russ?
comes to all my shows.
Does
Yeah.
he?
His son Dakota started fighting. Yeah, it's great. So, he gathered the team and my dad's like, go, tell them all the shit you're telling me. Go, tell the team, look them in their eyes, tell them you're giving up on everybody. I just started crying. And then the coach, Russ Brown.
They're crying too. The best kids.
Yeah,
leaving.
but my coach took me aside. I was like,
There goes the season.
yeah,
Son of a bitch.
yeah. The head coach took me aside. I was like, hey, man, you're really important to the team. Like, you're the team captain.
You're the quarterback.
Yeah.
You're the running back. You're the safety.
He was like,
you're
you're
the
our
kick returner.
You're our
you're the
entire
field goal.
playbook. You're our entire playbook. If you leave, I'm going to lose my job.
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah, he's just like, you're really important to the team. It'd be really, disappointing if you left. So I stuck with it. But that was like a learning time. But I knew I was gifted in athletics at a young age.
What did that do for you moving forward? Did it instill in you that team and you don't quit?
Yes.
Yeah,
Big
it really
time.
did.
And
Do
with
you flash
everything.
back on that?
Oh, yeah.
You do? Even now, do you?
Oh, yeah.
When do you think about that?
I think about, because I have 2 young sons now, and I think about just some of the stuff my dad did. I'm like, God, what a beast, man. Like, he never let us get away with anything. Work ethic was everything. He worked his ass off. So, at a young age, I was like, oh, this is how you act. So just my work ethic, which comics or, other athletes talk about, this work ethic, that's my dad, man.
That's good. Isn't it interesting too when you sit and listen to somebody and they're like, they say busy, like you say, but like, oh yeah, and then they tell you what they've been up to and you're like,
Bubba, that's my Monday.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
what that's when I started learning out here the difference between what people think hard work is, even in life, not just out here. What am I saying?
Well,
People
especially
like,
if you're,
you think that's hard
I
work?
know, but especially if you're around comics, like I think where I got my success in comedy is just the difference of work ethic compared to a lot of guys. Like the work ethic in comedy really separates the pack. Is there
Agreed.
funnier guys than me? Oh, hands down, easy. But as far as work ethic, it'd be tough to find someone who outworks me,
That's right.
and I take pride in that.
What? Okay. So that's football, and
That's football, but also, again, so I go from Pop Warner, I was a star there, and then I get into high school. I was good in high school, but I was
were
never
you all state or anything like that in high school.
Yeah, I was. So this is where it gets dicey. Yeah, I was all conference, but I played lacrosse too, and I was all
Me
state.
too. Wow. Was it
yeah.
you were playing in Colorado?
Yep,
All
all
right.
state. Captain of the team. But my senior year, our first game of the season, that's back then too. That's when you're getting recruited, and I was wanting to go play at some pretty big schools, and we played at Disney World. We flew down there to play this other team, Cypress Creek, I think, this big team, and their star cornerback had a full ride to Florida State, and I was getting recruited by like Texas A&M, Cal, all these schools, and so the first play we knew going into the game. My coach, Tony Manfredi, was like, hey, we're gonna first play, we're gonna hit him in the mouth, we're gonna throw you a deep ball and just let him know what's up. I'm like, hell yeah, watch this. Florida State, check this out. They throw the ball. This Florida State savage intercepts the ball with one arm. He goosh, not today, white boy. Takes off down the field. I'm like, what the fuck? Is that Deion Sanders? He takes off with the ball. Oh, first play of the game. I'm chasing him down. I'm like, all right, he got the interception, but I'm gonna strip him, get the ball back, and that'd be on film. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this is gonna look dope. And I fly up to him. I go to strip the ball, and he jukes the biggest guy on our team, Gary Moore, who is 6'8", 375 pounds. And Gary, he gets juked, and he doesn't always do it. Gary gets juked and just like dives and runs full speed into my ribs, shatters my ribs.
For real?
Yeah, his helmet
shit.
shatters my ribs. My ribs run into my liver, and I have a lacerated liver. So I missed the entire season. Played one play.
Holy shit.
Played one play.
One play.
One play. So that was like a wake-up call.
Fuck.
And then they didn't know if I was going to be able to play. They didn't know, so
I mean, what do they have to do to repair you from that?
there's nothing you can do. Like lacerated liver, I was in the hospital for
I know ribs, there's nothing, but you can't do anything. They don't have to cut you open.
No,
because
because it wasn't deep enough. So it was just like a surface lacerated liver. So I couldn't fly back. So I was freaking stuck in Disney World for like 4 weeks. Nightmare.
A month of that shit.
And then the doctor would come in and be like, he's never going to play again. I'm like, now I think back, I'm like, what a dick, dude. Like, I'm
no
15,
bedside manner.
man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need this news.
I
And of
say it
course I'm
all
gonna
the
play
time.
again.
You know what they call a guy that finished last in med school? Doctor.
Yeah, you're right. So he was like, he's never going to play again. So I'm crying, stuff like that. So then my route was just different. I was no longer this big recruit. I lost, all interest in scouting. So then I went to a small school at Whittier in California where I could play lacrosse and football. Played a year there. I was freshman of the year in both sports, and then transferred to University of Colorado. So I found my way back to walk on to the team at University of Colorado.
Oh, you were a walk-on there?
I was a walk-on for a year and a half and then got my scholarship.
Damn, all right.
Yeah.
And what position did you play when you walked on?
I was tight end and then went, very cool. We have a tight end here who eventually became my best friend, and we played Pop Warner together. Like, we have a tight end here who's going to be a first-round draft pick. His name's Joe Kloffenstein. So you're going to play fullback. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll do that. So, I was a fullback just getting CT left and right. And it was a good experience, though,
And how do you start getting looks from the NFL? When's the first time you hear that? Well, let me go back for a second.
Go ahead.
Do you think at the time, you say you don't have the Mamba mentality or whatever, but do you think at the time in college, hey, I could play in the NFL?
Yeah, because I was around, like, when I was a sophomore, or even when I was a redshirt freshman, I was around guys who were getting drafted, and I could see how I compared to them. I was like, oh yeah, I might be better than this guy who got drafted in the 3rd round. I might be better than this guy in the 4th round. So I knew that I could get to that level.
And when do you start getting interest? When do you start hearing anything?
My senior year, there's some rumblings, but then it was tough, man, because my experience in college was really tough because since I was like an H-back, fullback, I was in the running back room and I was the only white guy. My coach was black. And it was weird because it was like almost reverse racism in there, because if, let's say we're playing Nebraska or we're playing another team that had a white running back, they spent a half an hour making fun of that team for having a white running back. And my coach was like, everybody knows white boys can't play like black players.
He would say that?
And he'd be like, I'd never play a white guy. I'm like,
Sitting right there.
and so I was really good, and everyone's like, dude, why aren't you playing more? I was like,
he said I
well,
would
because
never.
fucking Farrakhan over here is not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not gonna let me play, man. So our offense coordinator, shout out to Sean Watson. He, we had the big scrimmage where they decide who, where you're gonna be on the depth chart. And the starter was out with like a rolled ankle or something. So I played the whole game, and I scored the highest out of the game. And I was in the weight room the next day working out, and our offense coordinator Watson came up and was just like, "You're my favorite guy on the team. You do everything we ask."
Is he white or black?
He's white.
Oh.
He's like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He's like, you do everything we ask, and he's like, if things were different, you'd be a starter. He's like, but they're not, and it doesn't work like that. I'm like. And that's
he told me. He told me.
I'm like, yeah, I know. 'Cause I'm right. And that's like the first, I was like, oh, this is a business. And, because I was a walk-on, and the way, for your viewers that don't know how the way sports work, especially Division I, so coaches recruit all season. They have their guys that they give full rides to, and those are their guys, and they give them every opportunity. As a walk-on, you come out of nowhere, you bust your ass, but you're no one's guy. So you have to be undeniable, like a freak talent to get playing time.
That's one thing I love about the Ravens. It's been like 13 seasons in a row they've taken an undrafted guy.
Yeah, they get like the token white slot receiver.
There's usually a guy that comes in, but no, they usually do well. Like, there are guys that don't get drafted, and then they come to the Ravens, and we breed linebackers. The way the Broncos used to have running backs.
Yep.
And these guys come in, and then usually they leave the Ravens and they don't excel because we use them the way they probably should be played. But
yeah, it's a shame. That's when your eyes open up to like, oh, this is a business,
right?
And then, you know, because I was so dialed in with football, you know, when I was a kid, I knew I had the skills to make the NFL. So NFL was my Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I was like, if I can just get an opportunity, I'm gonna flourish. So thought maybe I get drafted late, don't get drafted, go to my buddy Joe Kloppenstein, his draft party. He gets drafted. They're all celebrating. I'm crying. Dude, crying. I was like, oh man. So then
these are tears of joy.
and dude, and I'm texting with my agent, Tom Mills. Shout out to Tom Mills. I haven't said that name forever. I'm texting him like, hey man, any news? I'm hoping I could like at least let my family and my friends know who are here at this other kid's draft party. Like I have something going on.
Consoling me.
And so he's like, oh, Buffalo's interested. I'm like, okay, probably the last place I want to go, but let's do it. So you know, I come out, I'm like, looks like I'm headed to Buffalo, everybody. But I knew the business where white guy, undrafted free agent, like it's a long shot. And the day I'm leaving that morning, I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, the chance of me making this team is not good, man. So don't get your hopes up. Like, you know, and he's all excited. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to, man. Don't worry. So I get out to Buffalo.
That's got to be a pretty cool thing for your dad, though. My son's.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He's never really talked about it. I don't know. He never missed a game ever. When at college, Pop Warner, college, you know, we played all at the time Big 12. So all over Texas, Oklahoma, played in bowl games against Clemson,
What
played
did he
at
do for a
Miami.
living?
He's a computer data guy. Like
As a dad
programmer.
now, doesn't it amaze you that he made every one of those fucking games?
Every single game.
My
Every
dad
game on the
too.
road. So did my brother,
Practices.
everything.
Yeah,
They
that's nuts.
never missed anything.
I don't know how the fuck he did that.
Me neither. Amazing.
Crazy, yeah.
So I told him, like, don't get your hopes up, Dad. Like, this is a long shot. I'm Vince Papali in this motherfucker. Like, you know, like it's going to be a beast for me to make it. He's like, yeah, no doubt. So I fly out there. And I think
Now, how'd they hear about you? Who was?
I did pro day. So
Okay, you did
that's
a
like
pro
the
day.
combine at at your college. And I did really well.
And they had a scout
They
out
had a
there.
scout there, yeah. So that guy's like, all right, well, let's give this kid a chance. So I go out there. They have me run a 40. They have me do all this stuff. And I'm in training camp. And I knew I was in trouble because I didn't get any reps. I got one rep. The quarterback like threw the ball way over my head. And I was like, well, that's not good. My one rep, this fucking, like, way to go, dude, with a one time.
Fucking white
And then I
quarterback
saw
over.
another player with my jersey who was number 43. I'm like, well, there's not two for, like, it's not college. Like, there's only one jersey at 43. And he was like a first round draft pick from like Miami. I was like, oh, this isn't good. So I was there maybe 3 days, hurt my hamstring, got cut, flew back home.
From Buffalo. This is Buffalo.
From Buffalo, fly all the way from fucking Buffalo, Orchard Park, back to Denver, Colorado. And I'm like so upset because you realize how hot dogs are made. And it's so it's such a business. It's such a savage business. It just breaks your heart because as a kid, you don't think about those things. So I get back to Denver and outside of my dad's house, he has a Buffalo Bills flag.
You ain't gonna believe this. I got Jim Kelly coming in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, hopefully you're a Steve Tasker fan because I don't play for the Buffalo Bills, man.
You hadn't told him or anything?
No, just showed up.
You could.
And he was like,
He was so proud.
oh, dude, he was so brokenhearted. Had a Buffalo Bills coffee mug and shit. What are you doing here? 4 days later, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? I'm not playing football, am I?
I'm not playing for this team right
Yeah,
here.
I'm not on the Buffalo Bills, Dad. So then I go through, like, I rehab my hamstring. I'm like, I got to move on. And then the Utah Blaze Arena League team called me, like, we'd love to have you, man.
Man,
I'm like, okay.
that's something else. I actually went and watched the LA team. And I'm a Ravens fan, so I am a fan of defense. This motherfucker sprinting from 20 yards back. They get to the line of scrimmage. They
No
snap
defense.
it, and it's just bombs. I swear to God, it was like 75-68 or some shit like that.
Well,
to
even
score.
that was heartbreaking because like I'm trying to get on team. I'm living with my brother at the time. I'm hustling. I'm selling supplements. I'm like trying to make ends meet.
And this is where again?
Denver.
Denver.
And so I moved in with my brother. I didn't have any money. And I went out, saw Utah Blaze, tried out for them, and then I'm waiting for a call to see if I made the team. I
Come back home, your dad's got a Blaze
Dude.
flag. Like, where'd you even find that?
made that team though. Made that
You
team.
did, all right.
So I make that team. I call my brother. He's the first person I call. I go, hey, your little brother's a professional athlete. And he was like, oh, that's cool. And I called my dad and he's like, oh, that's so cool. So they drive with me out to Salt Lake City to drop me off at the hotel where we're all staying. And then I meet with the coach and he's like, yeah, so what? He goes, it's just heartbreaking, dude. He goes, so what we're thinking is, do you think you can get to 300 pounds? I'm like,
How much were you?
I'm sorry, what? I was like 250.
Holy
He's like,
shit.
do you think you can get to
pounds.
300 pounds? I'm like, probably not. He's like, we'd really appreciate if you get to 300. I'm like, this isn't for me, man. So I didn't say anything at the time. I'm like, I have nothing else to do. So I go through camp.
Listen, it would. I don't care if you're under the guidance of a professional. It would take considerable amount of time to gain 50 fucking pounds.
I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know.
50 pounds. Even if you just ate McDonald's all day long, it would take you a minute to get to 50.
Yeah, they wanted me to get to 300. So I was like, oh, definitely don't want to do this. So I go through camp with them. Halfway through camp, I'm like, I'm talking to a guy. He's like, yeah, I also work at UPS. And I'm like, oh, you what? He's like, yeah, I work at UPS. I'm like, full time? He goes, yeah. I'm like,
shout out to UPS.
Yeah, I'm like,
Baltimore on Primary 1 Joe Avenue.
Dude. And the guy's like, yeah, I work at Remax. I'm like, you're the starting quarterback? You work at Remax? He's like, yeah. I'm like, wait, how much are we making? You know, it's like, I guess we're professionals.
Oh, God
So,
damn.
yeah, I was like, oh, this isn't for me. So I
Starting quarterback's working at Remax.
working at Remax. So I got my car and drove home.
You can't. That's your
Drove home. I was like, I quit.
Your dad's like, take the flag down.
Yeah. All right, get the flag down.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, I stopped doing that. And then yeah, it was just heartbreaking, man.
You never tried Canadian or any of that?
No. I was like, oh no, if I can't play in the
That was
NFL, if I can't play in the NFL, I don't want to do this. And it was just heartbreaking, man. Super heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. So then I go back home, living with my brother, again, selling supplements door to door. And I always had a knack for like jujutsu. I love jujutsu.
All right, so let's hold on there and dial back for a second. That's what I wanted to ask you. During football and all this, when are you taking jujitsu also? Like,
Yeah, I took jujitsu in the off seasons in Boulder.
at what
I take some
age
classes.
did you start that? Like high school or earlier?
No, college.
Oh, that late?
Yeah, I didn't start to college.
Okay.
And even then, it was like my senior year. I'd take some classes again because my best friend Joe Kloffenstein was into like Pride, mixed martial arts, fighting, stuff like that.
So you discovered that late. Yeah.
And again, I was really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, really good's all perspective, but I had a knack for it. So then, you know, I just signed up at a local like gym and
It's all still in Denver?
all in Denver, still training, not making any money. And then I take a class, and then the instructor goes, hey, you should come tomorrow because there's another big guy who's just getting started. You should come tomorrow because you're too big for everybody, man. Like everybody's small. You're not going to get much work out of it. But this guy comes every Thursday from Greeley. He drives from Greeley, which is like 2.5 hour drive. He goes, he comes every Thursday. So he doesn't have anybody to train with. So come back tomorrow. So I come back tomorrow. I'm like, who is this guy? And this guy at the time was a nobody like me. His name was Shane Carwin, who became the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. And he was like a big brother to me. So he was older than me. He took me under his wing. Me and him were just training. He had like one
And he's
fight.
driving all that way because he doesn't have anyone his size to spar with? Is that why?
He was driving because the school, High Altitude Martial Arts in Aurora, was started by Nate Marquardt, who was a famous UFC fighter, the only UFC fighter at the time, like well known. So that was like where you went because he was the one guy who made it.
Got it.
So that was the spot. So and that's how I found it. So, you know, me and him just started training together. He only had one fight. I'd corner him, and then he was like, "Hey, man, next week's Golden Gloves boxing." I go, "All right, cool. I'm not a boxer." He goes, "Yeah, I signed you up for it." What? I don't want to fucking box.
How long have you been even fucking
6
with
months.
that? That's it?
Yeah, he's like, you're in Golden Gloves. He's like, so get your mind right. And he
You're
was
about
like,
to go against somebody that could have been training since they were 8.
dude, so he signed up for Golden Gloves. And I'm like, God, I don't want to. I felt so much pressure to do it. I'm like, all right, you paid for it? He's like, yeah, man. Sent in all your shit. Like, you're fucking fighting, dude. So I'm like, I sell supplements. So I go to Golden Gloves. My dad comes. My dad's like, what are you doing? I was like, Dad, listen. If I don't win this whole thing, which I was an underdog, I was like, if I don't win this whole thing, I'll stop doing all this bullshit. But just come to support me. And, you know, my dad, he's like, all right, I'll come. So my dad comes, and the way Golden Gloves works is especially at the time, it's like me and all Mexican kids. So I have like 3 fights the first night. You fight back to back. All knockouts. I get 3 knockouts in a row. I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, I'm like, that's weird.
Wait,
first time.
Okay, so the first time you knock a guy out, all right, have you ever knocked someone out before in just a fist fight or anything
never,
like that?
Never been in a street fight, nothing.
Really?
Fought
You've never been?
No.
Just your brothers messing around and
just
shit?
my older brother beat the shit out of me, but I'm like 1 in 9,000 against him. I won 1 fight when I was like 7.
So this is the first time you've ever knocked
Real
a person
fight,
out.
yes.
How'd you do it? How'd you catch him?
With a right hook. He just came in, I hit him, and he went down. I'm like, oh, really? And then I felt bad. I was like, oh, man. I was like, are you all right, dude? And he's like, get the fuck out of here. Here's Mexican families, front row. So then all 3 knockouts, which is kind of unheard of in Golden Gloves, which was news to me. I'm like, I thought boxing, we knock each other out. And they're like, no, dumbass, this is like amateur boxing. No one really gets knocked out.
Do you have the headgear and stuff too?
Headgear.
You still knocked them out with that fucking thing on? God damn.
So the next night I'm in the championship and my dad's like, oh man, what is happening? And it's like in a rough area. My dad's like, what are you doing, dude? I'm like, I don't know. And you're getting your hands wrapped in the crowd because there's no like green room. You're just getting, it's fucking, So I'm getting my hands wrapped, and my dad goes, "Who are you fighting in the championship?" I'm like, "The guy's name's like fucking Adam or something." And this giant black guy comes walking by. My dad goes, "Jesus Christ!" And I go, "Oh my God!" And he goes, "What's up, man? I'm Adam." And he goes to fist bump me, and he's like a man.
Yeah, his hands.
He's a man.
Yeah,
he's like a man. He's a man. Yeah. And so my coach goes, yeah, it's probably better you know what you sign up for. He goes, he was the Army champ. He's like 41-0, man.
You say, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah,
Motherfucking.
I don't want to be here. So he's like, yeah, he was the military Army champ. He's like 41-0. I'm like, what?
He's undefeated.
I'm like, how the fuck what are we doing here? And he's like, just give it your best shot. Knock him out in the second round. Win Golden Gloves. So I win Golden Gloves.
You knocked him out?
Knocked him out.
Dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the announcer being like 3-0 and he's 41-0, like 2 undefeated. They don't even know. You knocked that motherfucker out?
Knocked him out. Yeah, I got a cool.
So now you're 4-0 with 4 knockouts?
4 knockouts.
Damn.
And then it was off to the races. Then I take
was
my
your
first.
dad going nuts?
No. He was like, you're a moron. You have, I was a double major, business, sociology. He's like,
was he going nuts from the knockout? Was he
for sure.
Like, oh, fuck,
but he was still like, dude, like, come on. You don't, like, kids like you don't fight, man. Like, there's much tougher guys out there. Yeah, he's like, there's a million things you could do. He's like, use your business mind and start a business, do something. And I was like, well, let's see what happens with this. So,
and how old are you at this point now?
Fresh out of college. So what, 24?
Okay.
Maybe 22, 23. So, so 1 Golden Gloves. And then Shane Carwin, he was fighting MMA at the time. I was cornering him. So he's like, oh, let's get you on this card. So he gets me my first MMA fight.
And where is that?
That's in Broomfield, Colorado.
Okay.
And you'll see there's a common theme because I get thrown just to the big leagues, right? In comedy, football, fighting, I get the big leagues right away where I probably shouldn't be there. So in MMA, I get put on, it's called Ring of Fire, which is the big promotion out there, like the biggest. It's their version of the UFC. It's at Broomfield Event Center, which is a big deal. And it's my first MMA fight. And I knock him out in like 34 seconds.
Get the fuck out here.
And my mom comes and I see her after. And my mom's born and raised in England. Like, she's a rough, funny lady, but like rough. And she's like, cool. So when are you back on? I'm like, what? She goes, when are you back on? I go, well, Mom, that's the fight. There's only one. I knocked him out in 30 seconds. Like, this is a good thing. She goes, I drove all the way to fucking. She goes, I drove all the way to fucking Broomfield for 30 seconds. I go, this is a good thing. She goes, get the fuck out of here. Never came to fight again. Never came to fight again. No. Never.
That's hilarious.
So
your mom ain't taking
my mom's funny, man.
Let's take a quick break and tell you about our first sponsor, Liquid IV. I think we can all agree 2020 was rough. It's time to clean the slate and start 2021 off on the right foot. One goal I have for myself this year is to stay healthy, and I'll be doing that with the help of my favorite hydration product, Liquid IV. With 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water, you get 2 to 3 times the amount of hydration as plain water. Liquid IV has incredible hydration flavors like watermelon, lemon, lime, and passion fruit, and they recently launched strawberry. Imagine a freshly picked taste of ripe, juicy strawberries topped with decadent notes of whipped cream. Amazing. Now, look, I've told you guys throughout my COVID, I took Liquid IV. I absolutely took the tangerine that has zinc, vitamin D, all the things they say are essential, and it kept me hydrated. It kept me healthy. I was lucky to not have some severe side effects, and I absolutely use Liquid IV the entire time. Now, Liquid IV contains 5 essential vitamins, more vitamin C than an orange, and as much potassium as a banana. It's healthier than the sugary sports drinks. There are no artificial flavors or preservatives, and there's less sugar than an apple. It's made with clean ingredients. It's non-GMO, vegan, and free of gluten, dairy, and soy. 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water can give as much hydration as 2 to 3 bottles of plain water. The company is donating 4 million servings in response to COVID-19. Products are being donated to hospitals, first responders, food banks, veterans, and active military. Grab your strawberry Liquid IV or their other great flavors in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code HoneyDew at checkout. That's 25% off of anything you order when you use the promo code HoneyDew at liquidiv.com. Get better hydration today at liquidiv.com. Our next sponsor is RAYCON. You know how much I love my RAYCONs. I finally got a new pair for myself, and I'm enjoying them. I love them. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm always looking at my screen these days, now more than ever. And whether you're an avid news watcher or you're in serious need of distraction, unplugging yourself is easier said than done. One of my favorite ways to rest my eyes and still get the content I'm itching for is by putting in my RAYCON wireless earbuds and listening to something great like the HoneyDew podcast and the HoneyDew with y'all on my Patreon. Whether you're catching up on your favorite news podcast, binging an audiobook, or powering through your workout with a pumped-up playlist, a pair of RAYCONs in your ears can make all the difference. There's no dangling wires or stems to get in your way here. All right, RAYCONs come in a range of stylish colorways, but always with a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look. RAYCONs are built to perform anywhere and anytime with water and sweat-resistant construction and Bluetooth that pairs quickly and seamlessly. And with enough battery life for 6 hours of playtime, you can unplug for a while. And the best part is RAYCON makes great sound accessible to everyone with wireless earbuds starting at half the price of other premium audio brands. All right, so RAYCON is offering 15% off all their products for my listeners. Here's what you got to do to get it. You go to buyraycon.com/honeydew. That's it. You get 15% off your entire RAYCON order, so feel free to grab a pair and a spare. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/honeydew. buyraycon.com/honeydew. Hear the difference. Our next sponsor is Stitch Fix. So if your go-to outfit in 2020 has become sweatshirts or yoga pants, you may be feeling like you're in a style rut. All right, but let Stitch Fix help you feel excited about what you're wearing. Stitch Fix offers clothing hand-selected by expert stylists for your unique size, style, and budget. Every piece is chosen for your fit and your life, and it's the easy solution to finding what makes you look and feel your best. Try on pieces at home before you buy them. You can keep your favorites, send back the rest. Stitch Fix has free shipping, easy returns and exchanges, and a prepaid return envelope is included. There's no subscription required. You just try Stitch Fix once, or you can set up automatic deliveries. You'll pay just a $20 styling fee for each box, which gets credited toward the pieces you keep. And there are no hidden fees ever, okay? Stitch Fix has styles and clothing to fit any occasion for women, men, they even have kids. They ship all over the US and they're available in the UK as well. I'm using them right now, man. It's so easy. You go on, you pick the stores you like to shop from. And look, they've got everything from Under Armour, Nike, Polo, you name it. So get started today. Go to stitchfix.com/honeydew and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. That's stitchfix.com/honeydew for 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. stitchfix.com/honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do. All right, so you're 4-0. How do you knock him out?
Boxing. I knocked that guy out. I clip him. He falls down. I just get on top, pound him out. And then I have 3 more fights in that same organization. Knock all those guys out. And I think my longest fight was 50 seconds. So there's some buzz around me, but even I'm like, this is insane. This is so stupid.
But knowing what you know and I know about wrestling fighting, you've never been tested. You haven't been past a minute.
I've been tested in the gym because remember my training partner is Shane Carwin, who eventually became the UFC world champion. But he's fucking good. And again, I know how I stand up next to him.
I mean, you haven't had to go 6 minutes.
But that's but as a prospect, that's kind of how it should be.
Yeah.
You should be starching dudes. If you're going to make it to the big
right
leagues,
about that.
You should be starching these fucking bums that you're fighting.
That's what they all said about Tyson, too. He hadn't
never been tested
into a fight.
Never.
And all that, yeah.
So I'm like 4-0, 3-0 in mixed martial arts, just fought bums. And then I get a call from the Ultimate Fighter, which was at the time a big, big deal. It was the reality show where they took 16 fighters, put them in a house, and they bring me for interviews. And, I've never met a camera I don't like. So when I'm in front of the camera, I put on a show. And I walk out of them like, you got the gig, without even like talking to agents or anything. As I'm walking out, they're like, you're on the show. I'm like, holy shit. So I go on the Ultimate Fighter. And that's with like guys who are similar to my skill set, all prospects, everybody's undefeated. One guy in the house was Roy Nelson, who was 30 and he had like over 30 fights, former world champion, had no business being in the house, but he's in the house with us. Kimbo Slice was on that season. It's the biggest season ever. So that was like the launching pad to my career. I make it to the finale. So in the house, which is how you earn your contract, if you go undefeated in the house, you earn a UFC contract. I go undefeated, I go 3-0, and then I get to the finale. And then I fight Roy Nelson in the finale, the experience.
The guy shouldn't be in the house.
Yeah, and get knocked out.
Did you?
And that was my first loss, yeah.
Is that your first time? Well, it's your first loss. Had you been knocked out ever before in football or anything like that? So what was that like? Do you remember seeing it? What do you remember of the knockout?
I just remember being really embarrassed and like couldn't believe it happened to me. And because I was kind of whooping his ass. And then I just remember he hit me with one right hand. I was like, that's it? That was like the first time I've been hit in a fight. I'm like, that's it, dude? And then he hit me behind the ear where there's not much you can do about it. So. And
that knocked you out.
That put me out. And then I was just like heartbroken, man. Heartbroken. And then I remember an experienced fighter named Keith Jardine, who was a friend of mine, who's like a UFC Hall of Famer, came up to me and I'm like so sad. Nobody can really tell you anything to get you out of that. And he goes, I'll tell you this, man, I've had some losses. He goes, I feel sorry for whoever has to fight you next. He's like, I feel so sorry for that dude. I was like, all right, whatever, dude. 3 months later, the UFC gives me a contract. I earn my ticket to the chocolate factory. And then I fight a guy named Chase Gormley in Denver at Broomfield Event Center.
All right, real quick, what's a con? So when they give you a contract, what is that?
6-fight contract.
6 fights. Guaranteed?
No. Nothing's guaranteed in fighting. So it's not like NFL or NBA. Fight. Yeah, so it's a 6-fight guarantee or 6-fight contract, but they can fire you at any time. Okay. And the way fighting works is to show up and take the fight, you get this sum. If you win, you get this sum. So to get your whole paycheck, you have to win the fight.
Okay, all right.
It's a bummer.
Gotcha. So you're getting a flat fee, but you're
flat
not
fee,
getting
but
the rest
I'm not balling.
Of it
but
win.
it's like a
how much is it? Do you remember?
It's at the time it was 6 and 6. $6,000 to take the fight, $6,000 if you win.
So 12 grand.
12 grand.
That's not a lot of money at all, especially after taxes and everything.
Agents,
else.
10%.
Everybody gets their cut.
Nightmare. So so my first fight in the UFC, I fight a guy in Chase Gormley in my hometown. I knock him out in 47 seconds.
Damn. Yeah. All right. Does your record of 4-1 carry into the UFC, or you now start at 0-0 when you get there?
It's for some weird reason those fights I had on the Ultimate Fighter, which everybody saw, which were my biggest fights, they didn't count those.
Okay.
So if I was, say, 3-0 or 4-0 coming into the house, I won 3 fights, I'd be 7-0. Lost to Roy, 7-1. Then I should be 7-1 when I fought Chase Gormley. So in my head, I've been 8 fights, which is still pretty green.
Yeah.
But again, it's off to the races. I'm in the biggest show in the world. I'm fighting Chase Gormley. Shortly after that, I'm fighting Gabriel Gonzaga, who's ranked top 15 in the world. I beat him. And then after that, it's Mirko Krokop, who, legend, knock him out. And then I'm fighting Nogueira in Brazil. It's just like, what is
now you're going to Brazil.
But I realized what was going on. I'm like, this needs to slow the fuck down. Like
Why? What's going on with
because
you?
I was a cheat code in the system. Like, this isn't how it should work. And I knew it, I knew it. I was young, and even then I knew it. I was like, this is gonna catch up to me, man. It's gonna catch up.
You always believe that.
I knew because you're going to get to a certain point where you're going to fight a guy who's fought the young lion, the athletic kid, and he's not scared of me. And that was Gabriel. I'm sorry, that was Big Nog in Brazil.
So what happened there?
So it's the biggest fight of my career. It's UFC 134, if I remember correctly. It's in Brazil. First time they went back to Brazil, stacked on the co-main event.
What is that like? Because those arenas over there are just their stadiums are way bigger. And
again,
how many people you think are in there?
It'd be like fighting Michael Jordan in Chicago. Like,
Yeah.
no one's rooting for me. We all my food they had to go over with a comb because they thought they were gonna try and poison me.
Come on.
Oh, dude, it was
Why? Why are you hated that much?
because you're fighting their legend. And I was the favorite.
But you're not. Oh, you were the favorite.
I was supposed to take care of this dude.
Okay.
Young
all right.
lion, legend. Let's get the legend out. They were costing too much money. It's in Brazil, but I should fucking starch this dude. And it's just such a weird experience.
How old are you? 25?
25 maybe.
And what's he?
38.
Every bit of it. This is his.
Every bit of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
his twilight.
long
right
in the tooth 38. You know what I'm saying?
okay,
Like
yeah.
a fighter's 38. It's like dog years.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like he's
totally.
old. And it was such a weird thing because I got a call from a random Brazilian number from this guy, broken English, goes, hey, we want to give you, I think it was like, I can't remember the exact total, but we want to give you 60 grand cash if you knock Nogueira out, put on, because soccer is big out there. And they go, we want you to put on his rival team where he's from. After you knock him out, put on this jersey. I'm like, all right, that sounds easy enough. I'll do that. Like, cool. And I tell my manager, he's like, dude, be careful because the way that works, that's Brazilian mafia, man. They work with these football teams, these soccer teams. You got to be careful. I'm like, yeah, they're just going to drop it off. So these two gangster Brazilians come in full suits, come to my hotel room, and they get the cash out and they put in, you know how you have those lockers, like the safes. They put the cash in there and they go, again, in broken English, it was a nightmare to figure it out, translate. They go, when you win, we'll text you the code to get your money out. If you lose, we'll come get it that night. I'm like, all right, cool. Totally knew I was messing with gangsters, whatever. Just wanted the cash. I was young. Go into the fight, get knocked out, miserable.
Get knocked out.
Get knocked out.
What round?
First round.
No.
I light him up with an uppercut. He's wobbly. I'm like, I'm going to starch this fucking old dude. And then he weathers the storm and then jabs, and then right hand against the cage. And I didn't even see it coming. Knocks me out. And then I'm like full of tears. My whole family flew to Brazil.
Your mom?
Nope.
Your mom's home.
Mom's like, get the fuck out of here. You fighting once? You guys are pussies. Yeah, so I'm back in the locker room just sad. Knock on the door. It says two Brazilian gangsters. They look at me and go, sorry. Enter the code, take their money. And then, then the UFC after that was just like, again, I wasn't put on this earth to fight. I'm not a violent person. I'm not an aggressive person. I was just a really good athlete that had no other options. And the UFC was a easy way for me to make money. So I knew I had to get out.
And that's the moment you knew right there?
No, the fight before that, I knew I had to get out.
You did?
I fought Mirko Krokop, and I knocked him out, and he was a legend. And we had a back and forth fight. It's one of the, it's always on the UFC's like all-time great fights. Me and him are going back and forth. He elbows me in the second round with an elbow and shatters my nose. She just shatters my face, my nose. I had this horrible cut. And I remember like, why am I so tired? Like, I'm in phenomenal shape. Why am I fucking tired? It's because he shattered my nose and all the blood was clogging. I had to swallow like tons of blood. End up knocking, I think at the time, I don't know if it is now, it was the latest knockout in heavyweight history. I knocked him out with like a minute to go in the third round. Starched him. I mean, a horrible knockout. But we're in the back, and the commission this is in Newark, New Jersey. The commission fucked up and gave me his check. And his was like $1 million something. And the guy goes, oh, so I see how much he's getting paid. And he's fucked up. His whole face is all distorted stuff. And I'm like, oh, what am I doing? That was like my hero. I just fucked that guy up. They give me his check. I'm like, oh, fuck, bonus. And like, oh, sorry. And then like, my bad. Give him his check. I'm like, okay. Then they give him my check. I made like 16 grand. And my face is all fucked up.
You were holding $1 million check for a second.
And that's why, and he deserves it. He's a legend. He paid his dues. But still. And I just remember staring at him, this they call him Krokop, Croatian cop. His real name's like Mirko something. And I just remember looking at him like, this is no way humans should be behaving. Like there has to be a better way for me to make money. Yeah, but I'm ranked top 10 in the world at the time.
Man, that's got to be a hell of a conflict.
Yeah,
to be that good and know that you need to do something else.
But I looked at him and we're both so fucked up, man. And I looked at him, I just go, there has to be a better way, man. there has to be a better way for us. And I'm crying. And I go, there has to be a better way. And he looks at me and goes, this is life. This is life. And I was like, it's not though, dude. I remember thinking, I'm like, I'm young. It's not. So I was 1 foot out at that exact moment, coming off the biggest one of my life. I was out, 1 foot out the door.
And then you go to the biggest loss of your life.
Biggest loss, suffered another loss after that.
Right after it?
Right after. Well, like 6 months after I fought this guy.
But
Ben
the next
Russell.
fight.
Next fight, lost that fight.
How'd you lose that one?
Knockout.
God damn. You're in the early too?
Early. Wobbled him. Just an experience, man. Again, I was the cheat code. I didn't have the experience to deal with that type of fighters, those experienced fighters. Then I go on a winning streak. I win 2 or 3 in a row. And then I lose. My last fight in the UFC was 2014, 13 to Travis Brown. I lose to him. And I knew going into that fight, that was my last one. Because I was doing a podcast with Brian Callen, the Fighter and the Kid, for years, and I was getting more recognized for that. And my paycheck for that was more than I was getting for fighting. And
was it really?
Yeah.
That's
and
interesting.
that's what, I enjoyed that. I like having fun talking shit with Brian, Brian brought me into the comedy world. And like, once I got around comics, it was the first time when I felt in my skin. Like I felt like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know if you have kids, maybe The Shark's Tale.
Oh yeah.
So there's a great white in there, and he doesn't want to do great white shit. He wants to, paint and listen to music and dress different. I was the great white I wanted to be a dolphin. Never wanted to be big. I don't like being big. I'm super self-conscious, insecure about my size. So I just didn't fit in. Because those guys were like so aggro and this, and this. And I'm like, I don't think so, man. So until I met Brian and started playing with Brian, just at restaurants and on air, and that it's the first time I like, oh, this is what I should be doing. This is what I love to do. And then we started doing live Fighting the Kids. That was my first time on stage in Brea Improv, or Ontario Improv. And I got off stage and Brian was like, this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You're meant to do this.
Wow.
And the first time I was like, you're right. You're right.
So how did you officially quit UFC? You have to make an announcement, or how's that go?
Not really. It was just like, they're gonna offer you fights, kept turning them down. Then finally I was like, hey, tell them to stop wasting their time. Like, I'm busy doing this. So I'll let them know when I want to fight.
Okay. But you did actually have a fight while you were podcasting?
No, I had several fights.
Really? All right.
Yeah. And at the time we were doing podcasts before everybody's fucking stepmom was doing them. So me and Brian, and I'd make merch. And again, I didn't have much money, man. And I told Brian, and hey, I've always been like a creative guy. I love fashion. I said, let me make merch for Fighting the Kid. He goes, all right. I go, so I went and talked to this printer at the Ave off in Venice, right off Windward Circle there. And he goes, hey, it's going to be about $2,200. I'm like, I don't have fucking $2,200. So I went to Brian, and Brian goes, I'll give you the money for that. Brian gave him the money. The shirt sold out, in like 30 seconds. And I was still fighting the time because I remember I wore that shirt that said Abbott Kinney Fight Club. I wore that against Andrei Arlovsky. I wore that. Instead of taking sponsorship money, I wore my shirt. And I was like the first one to kind of do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember the guys back in the day would write it on their back and shit and
yeah,
boxing.
you look like NASCAR guys.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, oh no, I don't want any of that. I'm going to wear my own shit. And my manager was like, you're insane, dude. I was like, I know, but this is my shit, man. This is my shit.
Wearing that's probably going to make you more money than that company wants to give you for their fucking t-shirt.
It didn't, but it was also like, it was just like, to me, it was more important.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never done anything for money. I'm like, the money will come. I'd rather wear this and represent me and Brian in comedy and, walk out to the octagon. That'd be cool.
So let's talk about comedy then. Your first introduction to comedy was podcasting, right? Mm-hmm. So when did you first do stand-up?
Would be doing the live Fighting the Kids with me and Brian. That was just straight, comedy show. But
that was a stand-up show, not a live podcast?
No. I never agreed with live podcasts. I think it's not the medium for it. It's a bad idea. I've never been to one where I've enjoyed it. So I didn't want to do that. And Brian's like, no, we're going to do a show, man. I'm a performer. And he goes, and at the time, he didn't want to scare me. He knew I wanted to do stand-up. He's like, dude, so the way we're going to start every show we had like 12 dates booked. He goes, we're going to start every show with you just telling a story. You're going to come out on your own. You're going to tell a story for the first 10 minutes. and then I'll come out and we'll do our thing together. I'm like, all right, cool. And so I'd go out, tell stories or whatever. And then, probably 10 shows go by.
Oh, wait, how did you feel about stand-up?
Wanted to do it.
It's totally different than podcasting. So now
Completely
you're going
different.
from boxing to MMA, let's say,
Yeah.
in the same world,
Kind of.
but not the same
Not
thing at
the
all.
same.
So what were you more comfortable with, podcasting or stand-up?
I was comfortable with podcasting, but I knew I was funny because I'd make Brian and Rogan laugh. And they kept urging me to do stand-up. Because we go to dinners and Rogan's like, dude, you got to tell us on stage. I'm like, nah, I wanted to inside, but I was too embarrassed. And by Brian going, you're just going to tell stories. I didn't put that together that I was doing stand-up. So I'd go out and do stories in front of these crowds. Now, granted, there are crowds. So they're going to be pretty forgiving. It's not like I'm doing the Comedy Store. But I'm doing these stories for 8 to 10 minutes and it's going well. And then we were doing like the Vic Theater in Chicago, the big-ass theater. And we're in the back. And I told Brian, I go, hey, with my story, I'm trying to think. And I kept saying story. And Brian goes, oh, that's so cute. I go, what? He goes, you think you're telling stories? I go, what? He goes, you're doing stand-up, Bubba. I just don't want you to shit your pants, think you're doing open mics. Like you're doing stand-up,
yeah,
dude.
you never did an open mic, huh?
Never, well, I have since.
Okay.
So I'm doing that. And then I was like, oh, fuck, I am doing stand-up. So I start writing, putting more effort into it. And then we do a live Find the Kid at the Comedy Store. And a week later, the Comedy Store booker goes, hey, do you want to do a set? Because it went really well. I did like a 8-minute story up there and went really well. And it was Emily or somebody, I forget who was doing it at the time.
Girl, Emily.
Yeah, Emily. Yeah, shout out to Emily, who's not moving to Texas. Good on you. Unlike your boy, Austin Ash. Sellout. Anyways, traitor. Anyways, yeah, bad guy. Hashtag bad guy. Hashtag sellout. Anyways, so she goes, hey, do you want to do a set in the belly room? And I go, oh, I don't know. Let me check with Brian's schedule. I don't know what his schedule is. And she's like, no, just you, dumbass. And I was like, you want me to do a set? And I was like, so honored, but also terrified. And she goes, yeah. We saw you on stage in the main room. Come do a set at the belly room. She goes, you have material, right? I'm like, oh yeah, didn't. I go, oh yeah, no doubt. So yeah, come do a set. We'll give you, I forget what it was, like 6 minutes. So
now this is your first.
That was my first. That was like my first set.
Okay.
And that was 6 years ago in the belly room. And like a dumbass, I invited, Rogan, Callan, D'Elia, my boys, Will Sasso, my agent, Todd Feldman. Everybody's in the front row, man, and I just eat cock, because I just eat dick.
Stand up.
Yeah, stand up. So that was my.
Was it a packed room?
Packed, sold out, dude. Packed. I eat all the dicks. It didn't go well. I ate all the dicks. And then.
Okay, let me ask you, were you more embarrassed about that or getting knocked out?
Knocked out.
Really?
But yeah, getting knocked out in your underwear in a steel cage in
In
front of millions
Brazil,
of people.
in front of all his
and you got to
fans.
hear about it nonstop.
That's
and
gotta be.
And you were like really trying, So it's like with
wasn't like you half-assed.
no, it's like I had a whole camp. It's like I put everything into that. But with stand up, I knew it was a painting I was never going to finish. So it was like I took a brush and did one thing. It's like I can finish this thing over years. It didn't take years. And so I just kept working, man. And then I kept getting spots.
But did they bust your balls about eating shit?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the
Brian
best.
looked at me and was like, Bubba, 10 years, Bubba. 10 years. I was like, you think? And he was like, 10 years before you get a career, before you're doing anything. And again, I was thrown into it, and I'm 6 years in now and, shot a special. I have offers now, shoot specials with every major network you've heard of. It's just a different animal for me. But again, with my experience in life, I've learned it's like, this has to slow down. We've got to slow down. Let me work on the craft that I'm passionate about. And there's a reason why I do, fucking 8 sets in 3 days in LA when it's not North Korea right now, So
let's go back for a sec. After this, you get this momentum. When do you first go do a real open mic?
that week.
You did?
Yeah, I hit the ground running. I mean, when I say running, I mean nobody could offer me anything I would say no to. Open mics, restaurants, bars.
Oh, good for you. You did go out and put that in.
Yeah. See, I think that's where, if you're a comic who has animosity towards me because of my success, I don't think you I'm not posting on the ground about open mics,
Right. Yeah, nobody does. Yeah.
No.
But you got to work out. That's what those, that's what the in-betweens are.
Yeah, and that's where, I've been super fortunate where I have guys like Rogan, Brian, like, dude, you can't just do the Comedy Store or the Improv. You need to go where people don't know who you are.
You need to eat shit, yeah.
Yeah, and I've ate shit a ton of times.
That's
man.
it. I mean, that's how you get good.
Yeah, figuring it out.
Yeah.
And it's great.
So how long are you in when you get your well, you're only a couple days in when you get or one show in when you get the belly room. So how long are you in before you get your special?
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
3 years.
And what happens?
3
Are
years.
you nervous as I mean, this is like going to Brazil and fighting this dude now in the comedy world.
Mm-hmm. And I wish somebody before I got on that flight to Brazil, I'm like, Baba, let's hold off. Let's just take it easy, huh? Let's take it easy. You're not Dave Chappelle. So,
but listen, I've known you for a little bit, not well, because I just don't know you well,
sure.
and you're newer to this, so I haven't gotten to know you too well. But sitting here talking to you, I know you're a good dude.
Yeah,
you've never seen in any of these stories like you've let your ego get in the way, like I'm the shit. I can. So
never.
Did you were you concerned when you got the special? Were you worried like it might be too early? Like what you said, you're going to see a pattern, and I have.
Yes.
So are you worried that it's too early the way it was with football, the way it was with MMA?
Yeah, because so we jumped forward to the special, but between that Belly Room show and the special, a year after that Belly Room show, Comedy Central came to me, and they didn't come to me. I heard from a mutual friend that they're doing auditions for This Is Not Happening, and I love that show, and Ari Shaffir was doing it. And I called Ari. I was like, hey, I'm not asking for any special treatment, but what stories are the best? And he's like, self-deprecating, fun stories, funny bits are what crushes on there. So I had this old fight story that was also on my special. Different story, but same premises, more beefy for a special. So I made the cut on Comedy Central. This Is Not Happening. I think it's at like 4 million views or 3 million views now.
Right.
So that was like my first big deal in comedy.
Was that your first TV appearance?
That was my first TV appearance. It was like when that was game time. That was that, I'm around big comics. They're going on stage. I can tell they're nervous. I'm like, oh shit, if they're nervous, I should definitely be nervous. That was like my first taste of like the big leagues in comedy. And that went really well. That went really, really well for me. And that was my big break in comedy. That getting on This Not Happening on Comedy Central. And I have like this super, super soft spot in my heart for Comedy Central.
And Ari and Eric Abrams. I mean, it's such a show. I mean, to take that from digital to network,
big time.
Come on, it's the first one they ever did that with.
Big time.
Yeah.
So it was just.
I think Ari too. I did a couple of them.
Yeah, that was a big deal for me because, for me getting on Comedy Central meant everything. So I still, I owe Comedy Central one. So that was a big deal for me, man. And, so then I'm on tour, I'm headlining all around, selling theaters out and headlining, all sorts of big clubs. And Showtime, their comedy team saw me do a set in the main room. And then that's when the talk for the special started to happen. And then they're like, yeah, we have a budget for it if you want to do it. And I was like, well, I have an hour. I'm going to get rid of it.
So hold on. Your TV appearances go Comedy Central, This Is Not Happening, Showtime special.
Yes, sir.
There's no other TV appearances at all in there.
Nothing.
Wow. That is fucking fast.
Fast.
That's really fast.
Yeah. Fast. And then, you get, compensated for the special and stuff like that. I'm like, I have an hour, so might as well do it with them, And I just remember Rogan and Brian, my guys, and D'Elia being like, slow down, man. I'm like, I know, but it's there. And they were trying to do me a solid. And it's not that special is bad. I think everyone's first special is like, you just know you can do so much better. Like, especially when
I will not
everyone
go
hates,
watch.
Never.
I won't go. I watch my old sets or anything.
Never.
I'm like, oh.
It's the worst.
And hell, I thought I was ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know, bro.
So
there are some things I look back on and go,
right?
I'm glad I didn't get that one.
Yeah. So I think for me, I look back, I'm like, if I would have wrote it this way now. You just have more experience, I'm still proud of it, and that's.
Do you ever go back and watch it?
Never.
Have you ever?
Never.
Never gone back.
I sat in on the edit to make sure it was done the way I wanted, but since that, nothing. I don't have any bits from it. Nothing.
You do none of that material at all now?
No,
it's all burned?
God, no. Yeah. No, hell no. I couldn't wait to get out of that. Get out of it because there's a lot of fight reference in that. I completely get away from that now.
So what now? You go from that special. What happens after the special?
I think with specials, especially now, that was 2 years ago when it aired. January, was it 19th?
God, was it?
Yeah, 2019 is when that aired. I shot in 2018. So
Where'd you shoot it?
Spreckles Theater in San Diego.
Okay.
So I think as far as was it successful, it was one of the most viewed specials on Showtime of all time.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you get the eyeballs. I sell more tickets from it. So, I think from a business perspective, Showtime and the people involved are like, dude, that was a home run. But to me, I'm like, God, I wish I would have waited. I wish I would have waited. But
why?
Just because how it is as a comic.
I know why I would have waited for shit I've done.
From year to year, like you grow so much, especially me. So it's like, if anybody who's came to my show now, they're probably like, geez, blown away about how much better I've gotten. So it's just like these leaps that you make, So business-wise, success. Me, as far as creative, I wish I would have waited.
All right, now football comes fast, you're out. MMA comes fast, you're out. Comedy comes fast. You seem to be in no matter what. What is it about comedy that wasn't about MMA or football?
Because I think I was. This is what I should be doing. I was made to do this. I enjoy the process. I enjoy writing. I enjoy going on the road. I love everything about it.
And does your dad support this now? He's told you always use your brain. So where is he at with this?
He likes it. I don't think he realizes to the magnitude at what I do stand up at. I think when I shot my special, he flew out to LA. He didn't come to the taping. Way to go, Dad. Didn't come to the way to go, Mom.
Mom didn't.
Fuck no.
Mom's done, bro. It was a one and done.
Mom's like, you're only doing one show? No, my dad just doesn't. He doesn't realize at what level I'm working at in stand up. So he flies out here after the special to see his grandson, and we're at the mall, and he said nothing, and it's whatever,
Did he watch it?
Yeah, I don't think so. So then he looks at me and goes, how'd your speech go?
Speech. Yeah, right.
And I was like, all right, man, you're just fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it, man. Fuck it. Fuck it. Just fuck it. And then I do the club in Denver, Comedy Works. Big club. Grew up with Comedy Works, Best. I love, and Comedy Works is close to my heart because you know how it works in the comedy business. They'll put YouTubers on. They'll put fucking famous people from Real Housewives of Orange County.
They'll book tickets.
They'll book you. The Comedy Works, when my agent offered them, I went, no, we're not booking that guy. He hasn't been doing it long enough. And my agent goes, okay, well, he's from there. So he'll do the theater, the Paramount across the street if you guys don't put him in there. And I go, I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to do that. I want to be viewed as a real comic. Ask her what I can do to work that club.
Oh, good for you.
And she goes, come and do a set. So I'll fly out there.
Wendy.
Wendy.
Yeah. So shout out to Kaz out there too.
So I came in there and did a set. The following year, they offered me one night, Thursday night. Did the one night. And then after that, they've offered me full weekends.
All right.
So they have a super, close spot in my heart. Because that's the way it should be done.
Well, she does it right, man. She doesn't.
Few clubs do, to be
Every
honest.
fucking club. I say this to her all the time. Every manager, every waitress, waiter, bartender, server, whatever, should have to train in that club before they go out into the fucking comedy world. That is the way to do it.
They do it right.
They treat you like a professional.
Yeah.
You're not treated like that most places you go.
Yeah, I've been in some places where, especially early on when I was headlining, I'm like, who's on before me? And they're Ashy fucking Frank from YouTube, and I'll sit back and watch the show, and it's a fucking train wreck. I'm like, this isn't stand up, man. He's dancing for half the time, and then he's doing fucking TikTok videos.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you gotta follow.
I don't want to be involved with this, man. The guy is a fucking puppet. I don't.
Yeah.
And his homies are on stage. I'm like, I don't want to be part of this, man. So you're walking a fine line in comedy.
Yeah, you are, man. There's all kinds in comedy. That's the thing. Comedy is where the rejects from everywhere else land. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny when I sit down to comedians, they're like, well, I was a theater reject. I'm like, the theater threw you out? You know what I mean? Like, that's how you know where comedy is.
Yeah.
We're all the bottom rung freaks.
Yeah, everyone's fucked up.
Well, brother, thank you for coming on.
Of course,
this
man.
This has been a really fucking informative, fun episode.
It's weird for me.
It's nice to get to know you this way.
Yeah, I love you, man. I've always been a fan. It's weird for me, you're right, because I do all my other shows. It's weird for me to be on this side. Yeah, it's rare I get to talk about myself.
Well,
It's
I'm
very
glad
strange.
you did, man. I appreciate you opening
Yeah, it's
up.
a weird story. Hopefully.
It's a great one, dude. Like, look, man, most people would be thrilled to ever get to the NFL and have, we say a cup of coffee, we call it a shot of espresso.
Shot of
up
espresso.
there. Yeah, it
You
wasn't
can
a
drag out a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I had an espresso, and they still claim me. Like
Did they really?
like when the Bills were doing the play, they're like, dude, hashtag Bills Mafia, why don't you sports more? I'm like, hey, I played as many games as you did, Bubba. I'm a Broncos fan.
Oh, shit. But that would be enough for a lot of people. Then to get to the MMA would be enough for a lot of people. Like, yeah, but I mean,
It's
you've
all
gone for
it's all
3.
perspective. I think it's all perspective. Like I feel like a failure in football. I feel like a failure in the UFC. I feel, comedy is a different animal. But
There's times I certainly feel like.
there's some time I
like
get off stage,
yeah.
I'm like, God,
God
I
damn
need
it.
to refund everybody
Yeah.
money. Yeah, so it's all perspective. If I was a kid and you sat me down like, hey, dude, so you're gonna get a shot in the NFL, you're gonna play Division I football, and then you're gonna get the UFC. You're like top 10 in the world. I'm like, holy shit! They're like, right? Isn't that cool? But now as an older man, I'm like, oh fuck, dude. So it's just perspective.
Well, thank you for doing the show, dude. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you, man.
As always, Ryan Sickler on all social media, ryansickler.com. We'll talk to you all next week.